In this video, we're going to take a look at graphing piecewise functions. So a piecewise function is a function that's built from different pieces of functions over different intervals. I've put the steps in your packet right there at the top, and we are just going to focus on two examples of graphing these functions into Desmos, because each one does take a few minutes, and I don't want the video to carry on for too long, so that you pay full attention. All right, so grab your colored pencils, and let's write number one the way we're going to type it into Desmos. So in Desmos, you do not want to type the f of x equals or this big brace right there. You just want to start by typing in this first function, and let me show you what that looks like. It'll be x plus 5, and then we do want that little curly brace symbol, which I'll show you where that is, with our interval inside, so x is less than -2. All right, so go over to Desmos. Let's type that in. So we've got x plus 5, then type the ABC button. The curly braces are at the bottom center of that keyboard, and then put that interval. So go back to the 1, 2, 3 button and type x is less than -2. And then you have this nice line on your graph. But notice it's that interval that cuts it off, and we need to figure out the endpoint. So a great way to do it in Desmos is you can actually drag the cursor in Desmos to the endpoint. And you can tell that it's going to be an open circle. And then it's located at -2, 3. So in the next row, you want to type that point. So type -2, 3. And then we're going to make it match, and we're going to make it open. So type the little gear and type the green dot. Yours might be a different color, but type that it's blue and it needs to be an open circle. And then look at your graph. It's a nice line with an open endpoint, because that's what we want it to represent, is what this function is saying. So it's saying it's the line x plus 5, but only for the interval x is less than -2. So let's go on our paper and graph that. So x is at -2, 3 is our endpoint. So let's go there, -2, 3. And it looks like it crosses the x-axis at -5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is an x-intercept. And then just draw your line going to the left. And that's it for that first piece of our piecewise function. Now let's do the second piece. So we're going to write it -2x minus 1. And put the interval in curly braces. So x is greater than or equal to -2. And then let's come over to Desmos and type it like it looks. So -2x minus 1. Then ABC, curly brace, and put x. So go back to the 1, 2, 3 button to get back to this menu. And put x is greater than or equal to -2. Now let's turn that into red to match my paper here. So I'm going to hit the gear button, hit the purple dot, and I'm going to choose the color red just to keep it color coded. Now it does have the same end point, because a lot of times these line up close to one another, but this one's actually the same end point as the blue one. And you can drag on your graph in Desmos over to that point, and notice it's solid and it's at -2, 3. So let's plot that point, -2, 3, but we want to make it change color. So click the gear, make it red, and it's solid by default, so just leave it that way. And now you have your other piece of your piecewise function. So let's go to our paper and draw that that's a solid dot. And notice it also touches at -1 on the y-axis. And just transfer that to your paper. And that's it. So it does take a few steps to get these functions typed into Desmos and then transfer them neatly to your paper. Let's do one more example, because all examples would be very similar to these two. I don't think we need to do more than that. And you could rewatch this video if you need to. So let's do one more good example. Let's write it out the way we're going to type it into Desmos. So f of x equals, it's like saying y equals, so you can always put y equals in front of each piece, but you just don't need to do that if there's already an x or some other variable. So I'm just going to write out this first piece. negative x plus 4, and in my curly brace, I'm going to put the interval x is less than or equal to 0. All right, so let's go to Desmos. Let's type negative x plus 4, ABC, curly brace, 1, 2, 3 button, back to this menu. X is less than or equal to 0. Whoops. X is less than or equal to 0. So I've got this linear equation of negative x plus 4 in the interval x is less than or equal to 0. Now click on Desmos on that line and drag it over to your endpoint, and you can see that it's solid and it's located at 0, 4. So let's plot 0, 4. Let's change it. So click your gear and make it blue and leave it solid. And then you have a graph that represents exactly what you need. All right, and let's plot that on our paper. So go to 0, 4. So just up 4 on the y-axis and make a nice solid dot. And then if you can tell from my graph, let me click the home button. It touches at the point like right beside there, like one box up and over. And then just draw your line going over to the left. Now let's do the next piece of our function. So I have x squared minus 5. It's got an x included. So I'm just going to write that out and put a curly brace. And it says x is greater than 0, less than or equal to 3. And you can type it just like it looks in the Desmos. So let's go to Desmos. Let's type x squared minus 5, ABC, curly brace in the middle at the bottom, and then type like it looks. So let's do 0. It looks like a less than symbol. X. It looks like less than or equal to, and then 3. Then let's hit the gear. Let's hit the purple dot and make that red. Then we just need to put our endpoints. So this time there are 2 endpoints. So drag in Desmos with your cursor. There it goes. My finger was in the way. So it looks like it's an open circle at that end on the y-axis. That's what undefined means, and it looks open when you drag it all the way over there. And it's located at 0, negative 5. So let's put 0, negative 5. Let's change it to red and make it open. And now it looks nice and neat on our graph. And then drag over to the other end of the graph. And we can tell it's at 3, 4, and it is a solid dot. So let's plot 3, 4, and let's make it a solid dot, and it's already solid and it's already red. So we're actually in good shape there, but you could fix it if you needed to. And then let's transfer that to our paper. So let's go to negative 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's make a nice open circle right there. And then it's located 3, 4 is your other endpoint. So go right 3, up 4, and make a solid dot. And then you're just going to connect the two with what looks like a little piece of a parabola, because this was a quadratic function. Okay, so that is it for graphing piecewise functions in Desmos. So try number 6 and see if you can get it typed in Desmos and plotted on your paper. Oh, actually, I take that back. We have not finished number 4. We have one more piece for number 4. It was hiding right there. So before you go, let's put this one on our graph. So notice it says 2. But 2 doesn't have a variable with it. So Desmos is going to get confused. So I'll show you what to do. If I type 2 and then I type my curly brace and I put x is greater than 3. Oh, it actually did not get confused. So I take that back. Because sometimes you would need to put y equals 2, but in this case it actually did okay since we put the interval x is greater than 3 right beside it. So we're good to go. So I'm going to change this one to green. And then let's look at the endpoint. So drag your cursor over and you notice it's going to be open and it's located at 3, 2. So 3, 2 is the location of the point, but it's open, so we need to go to our gear and make that little dot an open dot. Okay, and let's plot that one on our graph. So we go to 3, 2, put an open circle, and then just draw a line going to the right. Okay, so now you've got all you need to know about typing piecewise functions into Desmos and graphing them on your paper.